Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I'm bringing you guys a brand new Pokemon Masters video today. Today we're talking about the best strike sync pairs, both physical and special. I've done a couple of videos on this series doing the best support sync pairs and the best tech sync pairs that you can find in the description below. But today we're going to talk about the strike sync pairs, which I think are the most valuable sync pairs so far in Pokemon Masters, as currently in the co-op metagame, once you kind of beat the main story, strike seems to pretty much dominate at this point. So this video is going to be pretty important. Be sure to hit that like button down below and make sure you guys subscribe for more Pokemon content. I've been posting a lot of Pokemon Masters content. I am enjoying the game. I have my complaints about the game, but I do overall think it is pretty good. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying. We're so close to 500,000 subscribers, so be sure to subscribe if you can. I'd really appreciate that. But let's break it down here. Before I'm going to jump into that, let me show you guys kind of where I'm at. I've been playing this game quite a bit. I finally decided to use some of my resources. You can see I've got a handful of characters maxed, actually. I think that's what, 8, 10, about 10 characters maxed out. Continuing to max out various characters I see fit. I have completed all of the kind of EX training courses for co-op, which is really good. So I've pretty much beaten the game at this point. I've done everything I can do up to this point except for just grind out gear. So that's kind of the next step for me. But anyway, let's talk about strike sync pairs because they're super duper important. As you can see here, the majority of the stuff that I have maxed out are strike sync pairs because, again, when it comes to the co-op and the EX levels and stuff like that, it's really about just having a strike sync pair that can kind of deal enough damage. There really isn't much room for tech or support in co-op. I mean, some supports work, Superior Dusclops, things like that, but generally strike is going to be kind of the strong suit. So let's take a look at some of the best strike sync pairs. So I'm going to cover about 5 or 6 of these and kind of go a little bit in depth as to why they're the best. Not going to go in any particular order because this game really depends on type matchups. For example, when you're facing against Brock, EX co-op, you're going to want to use something like Chris and Totodile and stuff like that because you're going to get that type advantage, so it's going to be really advantageous there. But these are the 4 and 5 star sync pairs, and let's kind of take one at a time and kind of break it down as to why they are the best. So Karen and Houndoom really easily is super dominant, probably top tier, one of the absolute best in the game right now, and there's a few reasons why. Looking at regular Houndoom, which does have the opportunity to Mega, you have Snarl here, and Snarl is a move that is going to lower the special attack stat, and it's an AoE, so it's going to actually hit all of the enemies on the opponent's side of the field with a very high accuracy at 95% accuracy. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but what it does do is drop that special attack to add longevity to the rest of your team. You also have the ability to do dire hit. You're going to increase your critical hit rate, but most importantly, you have Entertain Me, which lowers, the lower the user's HP is, the more it raises the special attack. I believe at full it goes +3, so that's already better than X special attack, but you can go super duper high. It's just a really good special attack buff. You generally will not use Bite on Houndoom. I really haven't found too many instances to use Bite. It's pretty much just spam, you know, Entertain Me at first, maybe once or twice, and then just spam Snarl until you can get your Mega Evolution off. A couple passives as well. You can't be burned and you can't be put to sleep, so that's pretty useful. But here's where Houndoom really shines. Once you're able to get that Mega Evolution off, you actually lose Bite and you gain Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse is just a really powerful Dark type attack. You can see chance to flinch, but 114 special. Really, really powerful. And again, everything else stays the same. You get Snarl over Bite, so you can still Snarl, but generally, once you get that Mega Evolution off, it's just about spamming Dark Pulse, and then your passives are going to stay the same. So that's Mega Houndoom. Mega Houndoom, very powerful, especially against special attackers, getting to lower their special attack with Snarl. Once you get that Mega Evolution off, you just continuously spam Dark Pulse, and you can pretty quickly eliminate most enemies. It's really, really strong. Yeah, I mean, Karen is just insane, and you know, there's not much else to say about what Karen is doing, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you just get Mega Houndoom and you start wrecking some things. So the next one I wanted to talk about is Blue and Mega Pidgeot, obviously the newest sync pair to be added to the game. Mega Pidgeot sports the highest special attack stat in the game right now and is very, very powerful for very similar reasons. Air Cutter, another attack all enemies attack that allows you to hit all the different opponents. Same thing, 95% accuracy, you have a chance to hit crits. But the big thing here is Smell You Later. You're going to raise your evasiveness so you can potentially dodge some of those pesky rock slides. You increase your accuracy of Air Cutter and most importantly Hurricane, and you increase your critical hit rate. So now you're firing off really powerful special attacks that are hitting all the enemies, chipping them down. You're able to get that higher crit rate, and you can also boost your own special attack with X special attack here as well. So that's pretty cool. But the big thing here, a couple different things. You've got Acuity, so your accuracy cannot be lowered, and you've got Haste, so your speed cannot be lowered. Two pretty solid passives. But where Mega Pidgeot really shines, or Pidgeot really shines, once it Mega Evolves, it gains access to Hurricane. So instead of having Air Slash, which again, another move you generally won't use, you're going to use Air Cutter most of the time. You gain access to Hurricane, which is an insanely powerful special attack. 151 power, 70% accuracy. If it's raining, it'll never miss, and you have a chance to confuse the opponent. But you're just firing off a very powerful, spammable, flying type attack. And the big thing here is paired with Smell You Later, you increase your accuracy, so you're gonna hit that Hurricane at around 90% of the time, which is gonna be really, really useful. You're just spamming that, you just hit so hard, and again, you know, you have Mega Pidgeot, so your stats are gonna be buffed as well. You can see you go from 336 special attack up to 403 special attack, so that ultimately gives you the highest special attack in the game at that point with Mega Pidgeot. So it's just very powerful, and I definitely think Blue is probably one of the best sync pairs, one of the ones I've been using. Anytime I do co-op, you know, I have usually 2 Pokemon that take advantage of the type, and then Pidgeot tends to be my third, just because it's so good. Once you get that Mega Evolution off, Hurricane is just so powerful. It's very difficult for, you know, repeated hits to be taken. It just doesn't work that way. The next sync pair I want to talk about is actually Brennan and Treecko, and a lot of people are like, why doesn't Treecko evolve? And perhaps Treecko will evolve at some point, but if you look at its stats without a Mega Evolution, you can see its special attack isn't that far off from Pidgeot's. It's actually really strong. But, you know, Brennan and Treecko's real advantageous kind of positioning is no turning back. You can use 3 move slots of your move gauge, and that's going to raise your attack and special attack. So you're basically maxing out your special attack and attack, which allows Brennan to fire off very, very powerful hits. Dire Hit increases your critical hit ratio, which is pretty nicely, but the big play here is Leaf Storm. 163 power, coming off 90% accuracy. It does lower your special attack, but you can use no turning back, boost that special attack stat to a crazy level, and just continue to fire off Leaf Storms. And if you have Dire Hit and you lower your special attack so low that it's below 0, you're -2, -4, if you get crits, it ignores that anyway. Bullet Seed's a pretty good physical attack as well, so if you've lowered your special attack extensively with Leaf Storm, you can start firing off Bullet Seeds, which can hit pretty hard. I mean, if you hit all 5 times, you're hitting for almost 100 base damage, which is pretty strong, especially since no turning back is boosting your physical attack as well. Generally, what I've seen from Treecko, though, is you use no turning back, and then you just continuously fire off Leaf Storms, mix in a Dire Hit here and there if you don't have enough kind of boost. There's not a ton of poison types, so that's really advantageous for him. And he's got a couple different passives. His speed can't be lowered, and then he also cannot be paralyzed. So some pretty cool passives there, just for general stuff. Nothing crazy with his sync move. You can see I've maxed it. But generally, you're just going to fire off, you know, a really powerful sync move. Like I said, the thing with Treecko is just spamming Leaf Storms. Really nice pair with Rosa to refill that energy gauge. And despite the fact that it cannot evolve, it actually is a really powerful Pokemon. It's got pretty high attack and special attack, so it can actually take advantage of both of those. The next thing I wanted to cover is Olivia and Lycanroc, which is the supreme physical attacker in the game right now. Very, very good. Actually, Olivia and Lycanroc are getting a spotlight event this week, probably starting tomorrow. But the key to Olivia is very, very simply put. You use hard as diamonds, you increase your accuracy, your critical hit rate, you lower your special defense, which does make you susceptible to special attacks, but you're boosting your crit and your accuracy rate, and that just really bodes well for Stone Edge, which has a higher crit chance in general, and a low accuracy. You're going to get that accuracy pretty high, and then you also have X attack to boost your attack up. So you've got these things all working together. Boost your crit rate, boost your accuracy. Stone Edges hit really, really hard. They're going to crit most of the time. And then your passive, amped up, if you get crits, you raise your speed, which is going to recharge your move gauge even faster, allowing you to fire off more of these Stone Edges. So you can see how that kind of spirals together, very easily put. Hard as diamonds, start Stone Edging. You've also got X attack to boost your attack stat to put out more damage. So while you're waiting for that Stone Edge to kind of recharge, you can throw an X attack in there. And then you've got your Shining Gem, Continental Crush, 300 power. So one of the strongest kind of, you know, sync moves that you can have. It's just really strong, 300 base power. Treecko's is only 240 in comparison, so that's something to note there. I did want to cover a couple other ones really quickly. I wanted to cover Noland and Pinsir because I actually just unlocked him myself today. I'm very excited about that. Pinsir actually has the highest physical attack stat in the game. Very, very powerful. So basically, you're going to have Fury Cutter. You are going to increase the power of it if you continue to use it. it is not, you know, 100% accurate, but if you can hit it over and over again, it's going to get stronger and stronger. And then you've got X Scissor, which is a nice 2-bar. But the key here is that Fury Cutter is so good as only a 1-bar. You can easily continue to spam it. You've got Bring It On, which is going to restore your HP a little bit, adding some longevity to the battle. And then you can actually raise your speed. So you're boosting your HP, you're raising your speed, and that's going to fill that gauge bar up a little bit, so you can actually get those X Scissors off faster. You've got X Attack, so you can boost your attack stat, which is very, very useful. You've got this very powerful X Scissor 192, but you become Mega Pinsir, and look at this stat buff when you go to Mega Pinsir. You go from 305 attack to 365 attack and boost your defenses as well. Prior to Mega Evolution, your attack cannot be lowered, which is really good. So if you get hit by a sync move or they're trying to lower your attack, it's not going to work. So you can freely X attack, and with a lot of characters, you can't really boost freely because you could always have your stats lowered or hit with a sync move. You lose those buffs, but with Mega Pinsir, you don't lose that buff. And you'll notice here, its Mega Evolution actually gains Impervious, which is insane. That means its stats cannot be lowered at all. So any of those speed boosts, any of those buffs from you know, teammates and stuff like that, you just can't have them lowered. And then Unhindered says, when the Pokemon attacks, ignores damage reducing effects on the opponent's field of play. So there's a few different co-op levels where like they reduce damage output on them. That ignores that, which is really, really cool. So you're firing off some really powerful attacks. Your buffs stay, especially once you Mega Evolve. Impervious is nuts. We talked about Xatu being the best sync pair in the game. This is the same thing, but on a striker. That's absurd. So I can tell you, Pinsir is definitely a sync pair that I'm going to be using pretty extensively. I just want to very quickly cover. I covered 4 5-stars and a 4-star because those are really the best. I guess the only other 5-star that I didn't mention was Totodile and really Feraligatr. You can see Feraligatr lacks a little bit in the attack area. It's not anywhere close to what Pinsir has, but it does have Pick Up the Pace. It's a really cool option to raise your speed. You guarantee a critical hit, and then you actually have the, I think it's the passive Endurance. So you can live a hit with 1 HP left, which is really cool. So that actually is really good in co-op, being able to guarantee you live a sync move or a hit. I'm sorry, just 1 hit. And then Water Shift turns that normal Mega Kick into a water type move, and you can see how powerful Mega Kick is. 200 base power. That's like one of the strongest attacks. In fact, it's stronger than most of the attacks that we went through in this video. So being able to use X attacks, boost your speed and your guaranteed crit rate with Mega Kick, and you're gonna get a guaranteed hit with it. That's really nice, but I tell you what, Mega Kick tends to miss at the worst times, man. That's the struggle with Mega Kick and Chris. And then really quickly, I mean, I pretty much covered the majority of them. I do think How is worth mentioning. I mean, all these 4-star ones are worth mentioning, but I do feel like How is worth mentioning because Discharge is such a powerful AoE attack. It's 100% accuracy, it's 110 base power, it hits all the enemies, and it has a chance to leave paralyzed. So that makes How really good. So I definitely think How is worth powering up, especially since you can dodge some attacks with Field Alolan Breeze. So some really cool stuff there. I wanted to cover a handful of the different strike sync pairs since you guys have been asking me for that. I think any of these are viable, and you can make them viable in really any situation. It's about the full team composition. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you guys are new. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Let me know what your favorite strike sync pair is. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.